Bombshell. Latrell Mitchell is going to play centre for the Rabbitohs in round 5 of the footy. Unbelievable. 5 weeks to go before Mitchell Moses returns to the Parramatta Eels. Will they win a game before that? Time will tell. Or can they win this weekend? The Warriors have the bye. Is this disastrous time for the Warriors who are in form? Sinbin is back for the high shots. Direct hit to the head. You're out for 10 minutes. We'll see how that goes and how will that affect the games on the weekend. DCE, Roosters, Bulldogs, Rabbitohs, Broncos, and Sharkies are probably the most likely fits if he wants to win a premiership, because if he goes to the Dolphins, Titans and Cowboys, he will not be winning a premiership. So that is the question mark DC has on his hands if he decides to play on. Payne Haas for Samoa. Does that mean the Kiwis should be allowed to play for State of Origin? Let's talk about it right here, right now, as Mal Meninga is not happy. Let's get to it right here at Barry Charles Footy Show. Welcome back, guys and gals, to the channel, and what a week of rugby league coming up. Latrell Mitchell to centres. Jai Gray keeps his spot at fullback. Will this last all season? Well, the $1 million question is Wayne Bennett just doing it for now to keep the peace and wait till Latrell's fully fit and then put him back to fullback? That's one potential thing. As it smoke and mirrors and he's actually going to play fullback and Jai Gray drops out of the team? We will see. And also, can it be season long? The only way it's going to be season long is if Jai Gray continues to perform week in, week out like he has been so far as the top of the Dally M medal list at the moment. That is the big question for him going forward, if he can continue to do that, and that will answer for Wayne Bennett in terms of what happens for. But Mitchell will be hopefully a big increase for the Rabbitohs, and really you will see them continue to soar. What about Mitchell Moses, Rex? What is happening there with Mitchell Moses at the moment? He's still out for another 5 weeks. It's expected. There's a bye in there, so still 4 games of football, or 3 games of football before that. Do they win a game? It has to be in the next 2 weeks. They got the Dragons this week. This is their chance to win 2 in a row, as they got Raiders the next week, both at home. Big chances. This will silence the critics if they can win these 2 games. But if they don't, boom, 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 Jason Roll's door will be getting knocked on as the pressure continues to mount on a team that will have some tough games after that, with Tigers away and the Sharkies away. It could be a long way to at least round 10 before you get your first victory for Parramatta Eels fans out there. But I know Jason Rolls won't get sacked this year, but if it continues to go badly next year, then question marks will be raised. But we know what happened with Serraldo, so there is hope for Jason Rolls, that's for sure. But they need him on the field as soon as possible. And Dylan Brown needs to go to another level and needs to step up. But hopefully Dylan Walker will help ease the tension for the club, and he could be the difference to turn them around. Yes, the Warriors. What's happening there? The Warriors having the week off, is it a bad thing or a good thing for the team? From what I can gather, outside of Roger and obviously DWZ, not much injuries in front here, but the question mark is then they play the Storm and the Broncos back-to-back, and this is big to see where the Warriors are at. They lose those 2, it's back to typical Warriors. But if they can win one of those 2 games, or even both of those games, then you're looking, this team's a top 4 team potentially, but definitely a top 8 team. But that is going to be the question mark, is if they can win one of these games. They've got to jag one of them. If they do that, then the Warriors are big question, big this season. But it's still a long season, and all these young guys, are they going to continue to play well later in the season? That's going to be the question mark for the Warriors out there. But if you add DWZ returns very shortly, then it would help a lot with the cohesion of the team potentially, and they can build from there. But what can the Warriors do right now? They've obviously let go of Dylan Walker, and there's talks about they're going to go for an English player, but really, seriously? They either need to replace another utility, find someone else. They already had Jazz Tavaga and they let him go as well. Potentially a centre. They need a decent centre defensively, probably. And a prop to add to the prop rotation. Yeah, one more prop to their rotation. A good plan and look out. So Ryan Madison, not necessarily a prop, but a player of that sort of experience that's not playing footy at the moment. David Clemmer would have been another example of it. Players like that, if you got them into the system, then potentially the Warriors could boost themselves up. So the Warriors should be looking in the market to find someone for this season. We will see. Hopefully the young guns can continue to deliver. DCE, where should he go? I think if he wants to go north of the border to Queensland, surely it's only the Broncos. Broncos have said no, and the Broncos probably don't have the salary cap, to be honest. But if they let go of Reynolds, let go of Cobbo, potentially there's room. So don't write off the Broncos yet, but it's probably highly unlikely. If he's going to go north, more than likely it'll be either Dolphins or Titans. Most of the talk will be Dolphins, and probably in salary cap place, I would say it would be there, but maybe homecoming to Des Hasler, you never know. But if he's going to stay in Sydney, there's a lot of teams out there. You could even argue the West Tigers could be a boil over chance to get them, but I doubt that. But if Galvin left, then there is an opportunity there. But yeah, realistically, the Roosters. If he goes to the Roosters, he can help Sam Walker, but the Roosters have the forward pack to deliver him a competition. That is debatable. Similar with the Rabbitohs, have they got the forward pack in the number 9? That's a question mark I have with DCE going there, but he would be a great combination with Cody Walker. Then you look at the Bulldogs and the Sharkies. For me, these are the two teams that you add DCE to the team right here, right now. They just about can win the premiership just like that. The Bulldogs are on their way. You could argue the Bulldogs are missing an alpha male prop if they had that. And if you add in Fanua Blake to that team, then boom, with DCE, they win the comp. That's why the Sharkies are a big hope. If you put him as Sharkies, they can win the comp. That's what they've been missing, that star elite halfback to take them all the way. So the Sharkies, could they be a smoky for DCE if you get rid of Will Kennedy out of the team? Nico Hines, the fullback. I mean, you could argue you could get rid of Nico Hines and start with DCE, but Nico Hines would be playing longer than DCE. But that's the question mark that Craig Fitzgibbon's going to have if they want to really push. So we will see how that all plays out in the rugby league world. Yes, so the video referees are in hot water again for not taking out the shoulder charge, the high hits, and sending them to the sin bin. Really, that's been happening all year long, and then they're only just cracking down on it now because of media talk. You got to be better than that NRL and deliver what you need to do for the betterment of the game. So, if they want to take head knocks seriously, but yes. But do we really want to penalty-a-thon again? That is my danger with all that happening. Mal Meninga's back, yes, baby. Mal Meninga is back in the headlines as he just does not like these players defecting all the time. So Payne Haas is the next one looking to play for Samoa potentially. You already had Caleb Ponga the week before. So what is happening there? Is it time for the Kiwis to play for their origin team if they come over before high school time? Like Ronald Mulatano did, but a year too late. But if they start the secondary school over there, high school over there, then they should be playing, in my opinion. If Samoa, Tonga, and Fiji players allowed to do, why not the Kiwis? That's just the way I see it. There seems to be one rule for one for other. How can Tony Carroll allowed to do it, and no one else has been able to do it since? That's just the way the rugby league world is at the moment. But yes, I think if you were in Queensland or New South Wales when you were 12 years old and played all the way through there, play ref footy and all that, I think you deserve your opportunity to play for Queensland, New South Wales, and then you've got to make a decision if you want to play for the Kiwis or Australia. It's fair enough, in my opinion. I understand that the true blood-nosed Australian will be going, yes, if you're playing Queensland, you play for Australia and New South Wales. I get that as well. Absolutely, I get that as well. But if people have the opportunity to play for different countries, I think that should be their choice. It should not be, if they play for Queensland or New South Wales, they have to play for Australia. Because if they do that, they should do that for everybody, Luai and all that included. If they want to go that way, I'm happy with it, but they're not allowed to play state of origin and get their money, but not play for Australia. That's the way I see it. But we will see if that happens going forward. Well, let's get to rugby league on the weekend, folks. Yes, rugby league at its greatest. The Raiders and the Sharkies. To be honest, the Sharks should win this easy, but there is a bit of a hoodoo at Raiders town. The Raiders love to get up for their games at home, but Sharkies should be winning. Panthers. This is a chance to bounce back. I think it's the time Cleary says to everybody, I'm the number one. We're going to do a 5-peat, and we will do it, baby. And we will win New South Wales Origin with me as the halfback. That's what he's going to be saying to himself if I say, yo. And the Panthers need to win this week. They lose this week, they ain't winning the competition. Let's put it that way. It's simple as that. They need to win this week. And I expect they will bounce back and give it to the Cowboys by 13+. Obviously, losing James Fisher-Harris and Luai has been a big jolt. They've handled the other jolts, but when you're talking about one of the better props in the game and one of your best foils next year, when you drop the class of player by, let's say, 20-30% of J. Cole, and same with the Lindsay Smith, they're not quite as good as James Fisher-Harris, but 20% down, you see that little bit of depth in the team. And defensively, they're not been good so far this year. Over 30 missed tackles compared to average 15 last year. That's where the problem is for them. They can turn that around very quickly, then all the doomsayers will disappear. But yeah, a lot of work to do. But I expect them to ramp home against the Cowboys. But my picks last week were no good, so can't convince on what I pick. Rabbitohs, Roosters, and another one of those grad matches. The Fisty Cups are ready to go. Are they ready for the Battle of Brookie? Will we have anything like... Oh, sorry, Battle of Brookie. What am I on about? That's a later game. The battle of the city teams here. How do I see it? The poor man versus the big man. Well, the poor man should be winning. The Rabbitohs look like the better team overall so far this season. No Victor Radley. The young guns of the Roosters seem to be struggling, and I think you'll see the Rabbitohs get home in this game. But we will see how that goes. Eels, can they finally get a victory in this game against the Dragons at home on Saturday night, the first game on Saturday afternoon? They need to. Absolutely need to. They got a chance. I will not convince the Dragons were great. I think the Storm were pretty average in the second half at Cogra. So we will see how that goes going forward here. But I'm expecting the Eels to win with Dylan Walker being the bet. Titans should just smash the Dolphins, but can the Hammer bounce back? But I think the Tigers 13+, but could be wrong there. Broncos, I expect to smash the Tigers. No Luai. Broncos by 20. Manly, the Battle of Brookie. I don't think there'll be any fisticuffs in this game, but I expect Manly to win with no Hughes involved by 6. And then finish the game with Bulldogs versus Knights at home. Bulldogs at home should get it done, but Kalen Ponga will be looking to bounce back. Anyway, that's Barry Charles for the show for this episode. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll be back with another video shortly.